Well, hey fans, welcome back to another movie review, and today we're talking about Thunderbolts. Now, before I get to the rest of the review, I'd like to thank the sponsor for this video, MoviePass. So MoviePass is back and it's better than ever. It's a subscription-based ticketing service, and I've been using it for a few months now, and I just think it's great. And they have this neat new black card, and it feels great, and it's very easy to use. And unlike your AMC A-List or your Regal Unlimited, you can use MoviePass at almost any theater, and it is very simple to use. They now go off of a points-based system, so you pay every month, and that will vary depending on the market that you live in, and you'll get a certain amount of points to use for movies. And the price in terms of points for the movies varies depending on the day of the week that you go to the theater, the time of the showing, and how recently the movie has been released. So what you'll do is you'll go into the app, you'll click the movie that you want to see, unlock the card, and then pay. You can also pick the online option for just a few more points if you don't want to wait in line. So again, thank you to MoviePass. So Thunderbolts is an anti-hero team-up film directed by Jake Schreier, starring Florence Pugh, John-Kamen, Sebastian Stan, Wyatt Russell, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, David Harbour, Pullman, and many more. And the story follows this group of assassins, basically, who've all been tasked with the same mission to stop a robbery at this secret government base. Well, it turns out they were actually all tasked with killing each other. Now, once they find out what is actually going on, they team up and join forces with Bob, who is the guy that they didn't know would be there, to take out the person that sent them on the mission. So Thunderbolts, I would say, is a fine Marvel movie. In an example of reverse synergy, I think I like the parts better than the whole. I really like Florence Pugh as Yelena Belova as the basically new Black Widow. I think that she's very good in the role. She definitely brings a lot of emotion to the part, and I like her relationship with David Harbour's Alexei, and the whole father-daughter relationship that they kind of had in Black Widow that they brought over to this even more so. I really enjoyed. And I think, and I've said this since before the movie came out, that the asterisk in Thunderbolts, it should have been that it was a Black Widow sequel. It should have been Black Widow and the Thunderbolts. I think that would have been a better way to market this film than how they ended up marketing it, because it is Yelena's story. She's like the first character I think you see on screen, and she's one of the last characters that I think you see on screen. So like I said, I really enjoyed their portrayal. David Harbour as Red Guardian, like I said, the relationship with Yelena is great. He provides most of the comedy for the movie. He's very funny, he has a new outfit, he has his limo service. I enjoyed his role in the movie. It wasn't too big, he wasn't around too much. He is basically a side character who becomes more prevalent in the end, so I really did enjoy what he did. Wyatt Russell as John Walker, I liked him better in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I think there was a lot more depth to his character in that miniseries. And they try to bring some of that here when they explain the relationship, what happened between him and his wife. I think they should have explored that more. They should have explored a lot more of the characters' backstories more. But for the most part, he was pretty much like the jerk of the group. But I would like to see, more about like the missions he's been on since then. Because at the end of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, you're led to believe like he's turned a new leaf. He actually helps Bucky and Sam save the day at the end of that show. And like he walks off of Bucky and he's like, thanks. He has, his cheap little brand new shield. And of course, he ends up working with Ballard into that show, but even though he's doing those missions, you are led to believe he's kind of a good guy. But to see him doing like these Black Ops missions, it is just a little strange how he would be convinced of that. And then the original script apparently had him under some type of like Hulk-like rage control that he would have turned into this movie, but they kind of changed all that. So I think they should have just fleshed his character out a little more. John-Kamen as Ghost. Haven't really seen her since Ant-Man 2. I don't like what they did with her character in this movie for one specific reason, but I don't think like a lot of her backstory was fleshed out. At the end of Ant-Man 2, Janet Van Dyne used a little bit of her quantum powers to temporarily cure her. And of course we know Ant-Man was supposed to go to the quantum realm and get more energy to permanently cure her, but then the snap happened and we haven't really heard from her since. In the film, she has like a brand new ghost suit, and they are showing, or she states that this is what keeps her from, phasing out of existence. But it's been, I don't know how many years since, at least 5, because we know of the snap. I forget what year this movie actually takes place, but why hasn't she been permanently cured? and can just use her powers however she wants. Why has she not contacted Ant-Man or the Van Dynes to, get a permanent cure? And maybe they just don't want to go back to the quantum realm at this point anymore because, everything that happened with Kang, which we don't know how that's going to go down anymore since they kind of nixed that storyline. But I'm sure there's another way to cure her. And I just don't really like the lack of depth to her character. And you don't see Lawrence Fishburne, surrogate father figure of her, mentioned in this movie at all. So I think they could have done more with her. Like they could have done more with like a lot of the other characters. Olga Kurylenko, who, as you notice, I did not mention as one of the actors starring in this movie. She's one of the many more. She's in this movie for 5 minutes, and she is shot in the head by Ghost at the very beginning. She's killed. She's not a member of the Thunderbolts. She's not a member of the New Avengers. She's nowhere to be seen in the rest of this movie. And that really, really disappointed me. It did not sit well with me. And not because they marketed her all over as a member of the team, and everybody pretty much figured out before the movie came out, like, hey, I think she's gonna die in this movie. And when they did the whole Avengers Doomsday chairs, her name was not shown. Now, if she died in the movie, it would have been fine. Like, before the movie came out, I was assuming she died fighting Sentry at the end, like she has like an honorable death, but no, she doesn't. And another thing is, she's like she is the only character of note to die in this movie. And she gets shot in the head through her mask, which you would expect would be bulletproof considering the line of work that she's in. So I don't even know why they brought her back, unless like they actually did film more footage of her surviving the whole movie and just kind of cut that whole storyline out and had enough footage to work around that. I guess that works, but if I was Olga Kurylenko, I'd be pissed because that was a horrible way to go out for a character of her stature. Now, I know a lot of people didn't like Taskmaster in the Black Widow movie because they're expecting it to be Tony Master's version, and that's Marvel's fault. They marketed the whole thing like it was a guy in the suit, and then when the end of the movie comes and the helmet comes off, they digitally put Olga Kurylenko's head on the body. Now, it would have been a decent reveal had they not done that. If it was just like how her costume looks in the movie, it could be feminine or a thin male. It could have been either way. But in that movie, that was clearly a guy's body, and they just put her head on. So I think they were trying to please the fans, saying, oh no, this isn't the real Taskmaster. Once we reboot everything, you're going to get the real Taskmaster. And I hated it. She was taken out very unceremoniously, and by Ghost nonetheless, which made me like Ghost less. Like I said, I just really hated that part and just left a bad taste in my mouth for the whole movie. And I think they could have done a lot better for that character. Because in the universe, if you think about it, in the universe, Antonia Dreykov was blown up by Natasha Romanoff in an attempt to kill her father. Her father saves her, enslaves her, makes her into a mindless killing machine. She's finally freed after many years of being under her father's control in Black Widow, and then I guess for some reason starts going on more Black Ops missions, killing people, and then she's shot in the head. That girl had a terrible life in this fictional universe. It's probably like the worst life of any. She had a worse life than Rocket Raccoon, in my opinion. Worse than Nebula, but didn't get a chance to redeem herself. This was supposed to be the movie where she redeems herself as a character. And like I said, there was the original script where she was going to have some kind of memory loss issues and she was going to befriend Ghost. And there would be like a team within the team throughout the entire movie. They should have stuck with that. The score is pretty great. Cinematography is pretty great. Some of the hand-to-hand combat, I think, is done well, especially the stuff with Bucky. I like the smaller scale of it. The budget does feel like it was too big for the movie that we got. And Sentry, for me, I don't know that I necessarily care for what they did with Sentry, because they're going to pretty much nerf him soon. I don't know how they're going to make him fight in Doomsday, but I like Bob and I like the Void. I like the look of the Void. I like his power set. I like that it's different. I like that they can't really, that is more than just a beat him up at the end. They have to do some mental gymnastics to beat him. And that's another scene I wish when they were in the Void, they should have shown each of their individual traumas before they could get with him. They should have come together as a team within the Void to save Bob. But, like I said, Lewis Pullman as Bob. Great. Very funny. And also sinister, like the look in his eyes. They mentioned that he used to be a meth head. Like I said, I like what they did with Bob. I like what they did with the Void. What they did with the Sentry, I think that should have been explained more. Because you have Val, used to work for this company, OXC, who created the super soldier serum that made Sentry. Now, they don't explain how they concocted the super soldier serum and how it gave Sentry just a myriad of so many powers. Like, he basically has more powers than Gaia, kind of. But they definitely explain that she basically has everybody's DNA, so that's how she has those powers. His is just like a super soldier serum that makes him that strong. It doesn't make sense. Like Captain America and all their super soldier serums gives them super strength, super, healing, agility, all that. That makes sense. This guy can teleport, telekinesis, laser vision, all this. And I think the perfect way to tie this into the other movies would have been to say that they harvested some DNA from Celestial Island and used it to make this serum that was killing everybody they tried it on, but Bob somehow survived. And I think that would have been a better story. So overall, the movie's fine. It could have been better. Should have been a Black Widow sequel. Definitely shouldn't have been New Avengers. Like, I don't know why they made that change. This is not something you waste the Avengers title on. It should have been Black Widow and the Thunderbolts. It should have been basically Black Widow too. So in terms of a score, I'm going to give Thunderbolts / New Avengers a solid 6 out of 10. It kind of stands alone. I don't know that this really drives the MCU forward for me, and it's probably going to be one of my least watched MCU movies on a rewatch. But I am interested in seeing how this new Avengers team connects with Sam Wilson's Avengers team, who we have no idea who's on that team, because he's mentioned in the post-credit scene. So we'll see how that goes. Thank you guys again for joining me for this movie review. Remember to find the full review on YouTube and the website at flipfrogllc.com/flicksfrog. Remember to find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Reddit. And please, pretty please, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, I'll be seeing you.